TV's Brent Barry joins us now from Milwaukee. And let's start with those Bucks where you are. What have they done better since the coaching change?
Hi, Matt. You just took all my stats, so I'll see you. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, you know, they actually, Matt, have defended much better with Joe Prunty at the helm here as their head coach. Now, the last 3 games, you could call me a liar because they've given up 125 points per game to the Nuggets, to the Raptors, which they ended up winning that game, and then to New Orleans, which they lost at home. And that's kind of been the conundrum all year long for whoever it is that's coached the Bucks. Is it's one game where you make the opponent fear the deer, and then it's the next game where you make your fans actually fear the deer, and they don't have really trust in what this team is able to do. But in talking with Joe Prunty and talking about the time he just had off during All-Star break, with the staff having an opportunity to get together about their stretch run here, he feels very good about the potential and about the return of Jabari Parker and how much that's going to help out what they can do offensively throughout the course of a 48-minute game, being able to come at you consistently on the offensive end of the floor.
Milwaukee has a chance to win that season series tonight. That could come in handy as far as a tiebreaker goes when it's all said and done. Meanwhile, for Washington, as you know, there's been much discussed about the Wizards' assist totals, which are up around 6 a game since John Wall left the lineup. That's also around Thomas Satoransky's average since moving into the starting lineup. What has he shown Scott Brooks during this stretch as a starter?
Well, I asked Scott about Sato and about what it is that he does, and people are making a huge deal about John Wall being out, and then Scott reminded me, make sure you let people know that the kind of players that are playing actually like to pass the ball. So not only not having John Wall, but then inserting a player who's a off-ball mover, pitch-ahead guy in Satoransky, they've been much better. He's just talked about overall, Matt, the fact that their team has played extremely confident. And if you look at the stats over the course of the last few weeks, they've had so many guys that have had their best stretch of shooting the basketball. Some of these guys are 10 and 12 percentage points better than at any point of the season. So the ball movement has helped. The shot making has helped. And if you remember, Matt, earlier on in the season, they had 11 games where John Wall did not play. The team was 5-6. Nobody's bringing up the fact that Washington wasn't very good during that stretch. It's just that they've got confidence. They're moving the ball. They've used Bradley Beal in ways where teams are having to react to Bradley Beal, which Scott Brooks says, hey, that opens up more things for our guys who are capable with driving lanes and attacking the basket. So all working well right now for the Wizards, but they will be best when Wall is in the lineup.
And talking about Bradley Beal, he's shown he's a really good playmaker out there, and we've seen the ball is doing a lot of movement, but defensively, he's also taken on that challenge on the perimeter. What has Coach Brooks said about how they've been playing defense?
Yeah, TD, it's a good point because you got to still play both ways. And for the Wizards, not only Bradley Beal stepping up defensively, you've got a lot of length in that lineup. When you put Otto Porter out there, when you put Kelly Oubre out there, Satoransky at 6'7", Gortat on the inside with all of his experience, Morris at the power forward. Just remember how effective that starting lineup was last year for the Washington Wizards. These guys defensively have maintained about the same level. I still lean on the fact that offensively they've had guys just get hot, and that's really where they've made this stretch happen.
Bones, you and Tony would probably be the right people to answer this question, but it seems to me that...
It's not about defense, right, Greg? It's not
exactly,
about defense.
no. As you know, this won't be defense. I'm leading well to it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Otto Porter is getting about 5 more shots a game in the absence of John, and he's shooting the ball much better. How important is it for him as he finds his rhythm to be doing this with more touches?
Well, that's hugely important. I think, Griff, the thing that we could both talk about with regards to Otto Porter, which was problematic for the Wizards in the early part of the season, isn't now, is that late in games. If you look at the numbers with Otto Porter and fourth quarter production, there have been a lot of games in the early part of this season where he gets lost in the shuffle in the fourth quarter. And this is a guy who actually, in pick-and-roll situations, has been very effective for the Wizards during this stretch. And I don't think any of these things are being lost on Scott Brooks and their coaching staff saying, we've got to find a way during this stretch with John still being out to win. We've got a very tough stretch the next 5 or 6 games. But when John Wall comes back, we've got to find a way to make sure that Otto Porter and Bradley Beal and Kelly Oubre and Satoransky still get the same kind of opportunities that they're getting now, because the only thing that's happening is the confidence is growing. That can only be beneficial for this club once John Wall gets back and they start to prepare themselves for the playoffs.
Back to Milwaukee, they already got a big addition from within when Jabari Parker returned from the ACL injury. He had 24 Sunday in the loss to the Pelicans, his best offensive night since he returned. How close is he to being right and being a weapon down the stretch and for the playoffs?
Yeah, Matt, it's a good question. We asked Joe Prunty about the minutes restriction. It feels like they're going to lift it a little bit. He may be pushing up to 25 minutes a game. The one thing for Milwaukee fans and Bucks fans in general that they're thinking about is, how does this combination of players work? Can Giannis and Jabari and Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe all be on the court at the same time? We've got a great stat about tonight. You know, last year they played 0 minutes together. Middleton, Antetokounmpo, and Parker, no minutes last year together. These are three of your main cogs, and so it'll be interesting to see how Joe Prunty not only brings Jabari along in terms of conditioning, but how he's going to platoon these guys to maintain what I talked about earlier with regards to 48 minutes of really consistent offense, and Jabari maybe being part of that bench squad that helps them be able to do that.
People may not remember Parker tore his ACL on the night Chris Middleton came back from his hamstring injury last season.
Right.
TV's Brent Barry on TNT tonight, and I know you're prepared, but I forgot to write down who you're with tonight, so let us know.
Derek Fisher, Grant Hill, and of course Racine, Wisconsin's own Caron Butler.
There you go.
Here.
Homecoming for Tough Juice. All right.
That's right.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, guys, looking at these two teams, you had a Bucks team that put a little scare into the Raptors last year in the first round, and a Wizards team that came within a game of the conference finals last year. Which, in your opinion, has the greater chance to take a step forward?
I don't know. I really like the Wizards because they have a solid bench. When you have Scott, Oubre, and Meeks, you have the veteran leadership that's going to help this team get out of the first round and possibly get to that second round. And when they get John Wall back, it's going to insert him into a lineup that's been playing extremely well. And we've seen how that ball is moving around the perimeter. I think John has seen this, and when he gets back, he's going to be even a better playmaker, and he can trust some more guys now to handle that ball.
Yeah, and they've been number one in the league in their last 12 games in turnovers forced as well. So John's seeing how much they've committed to the defensive end as well. So I think this is a situation for John where when he returns, he's going to know a lot of the gaps he needs to fill in his own game. And he's probably going to be willing to do those things because they have won so much in his absence. I think the thing that's really scary for Milwaukee is when you're reintroducing a player like Jabari Parker into the mix, he wasn't a defender when he was healthy.
Right.
So if you're going to try to continue to be really high level defensively and you're introducing a new piece to that whole equation, that's going to take some time.
They're an interesting team because everyone thinks of their length and just sort of assumes that they're a great defensive team, and it really hasn't been the case the last couple of seasons. They're better on the other end of the floor.